Sure did. I tried my best.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone out tonight, and I appreciate all the people coming out and good crowd, so we sure do thank you for that. At this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Donna McNair from Fairview Church of God in Polkton to please do the invocation.
Come right here.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, commissioners.
Evening.
And good evening, citizens. Let me begin. I've not done this before, but just let me begin by sharing with you what the book of Micah, the 6th chapter and the 8th verse says. And that is that God has already shown us what we're supposed to do. It says that He's already shown us what is good. And therefore we need to show justice. That means that we need to be fair. He said that we need to show mercy. When there's the opportunity to be kind, let's be kind. Then he says we are to walk humbly before our God. Now, with that being the backdrop, there were 5 things that that I know as a minister that we're to do as citizens. Citizens who are Christians are to pray. We are to not only pray, but we're to register. That means that we have a voice. We should count. The third thing is that we need to be informed, and we need to inform others. The fourth thing, if I can read it here, says that we also need to elect officials who have godly qualities. And last, when the opportunity presents itself to show action or to take action, that is what we as citizens are to do. We're to vote. We're not only citizens on the earth, but we're citizens of God's kingdom. If we are citizens and we say we are Christians, then we operate according to godly principles. But we also carry out our duties here on this earth because we have a dual citizenship. We render unto Caesar that which is Caesar, and render unto God that which is God. Didn't come here to preach. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, how excellent is your name above the earth. You are worthy to be praised because you're the one who can speak and man will live. You can speak and man will have to draw his last breath. We thank you right now, God, that we're still in the land of the living. You have given us the opportunity to come together and do what is best in the interests of the citizens here in Anson County. You have these commissioners, all of whom profess to be children of the Most High God, or they're serving some kind of God. We ask that you be with them and guide them in the decisions that they must make so that all of us as citizens will benefit. We claim this in the matchless name of Jesus Christ we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. I'm going to read, as I always do, the ethics, where it says, in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearance of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in this particular matter. Do any commissioners have a conflict tonight? Not hearing any, we'll move on. I wanted to start off, we're gonna approve the agenda, but before we approve the agenda tonight, I just want to assure the audience that despite some of this information that's being spread by a few citizens, we will later clarify in our administrative matters section how this proposal that we're going to talk about tonight will create a more inclusive county-wide voting procedure which will allow every citizen the opportunity to vote for every commissioner, while continuing, and this is the part where there's a lot of confusion, while continuing to require the candidate to live in their current district as they do now. So that there'll still be the requirement for those candidates to live in their current district, because the calls I got over this weekend, that's what people were confused by. So we'll do that in the section where it's scheduled in the agenda, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But for now, I would ask for approval of the agenda by the commissioners.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Cottle, second by Commissioner Little Reed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes. Okay, so we've approved the agenda. And as we've done in the last meeting, and we started to do it a different way, the commissioner concerns will be brought up in the commissioner concern part. Rather than identifying them now, they'll be able to identify their concerns in the commissioner's concern portion, and then they can talk about it. So next, we're going to go ahead and do the consent agenda, and I think, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'll discuss something with the manager. Could we defer the farmer's market lease to the October 3rd meeting, please? There's a couple more details we need to work out on that with the other party.
Yeah, that would be fine. We would then ask to have a motion to approve the consent agenda with taking the farmer's market lease out. So we'll basically just be approving the amend the general fund and the ARPA fund. Do we have a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion approved. Motion made by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioners Cottle and Mims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. Okay, now we're going to read, or I'm going to go ahead and read the citizen concern portion that I always do. As we get ready to have the citizens come up and speak, remember each citizen shall be allowed 3 minutes for their presentation. During this time, commissioners are expected not to comment on matters brought to the board during this time, but to delay action or comment until staff has had an opportunity to research the subject matter and to report necessary and relevant information to all of the board, all the members of the board. So at this time, we'll go ahead and start with the list. Ms. Danny Montgomery, please.
Good evening, everyone, to the board and to the citizens here tonight. God bless you. I stand tonight to speak against the at-large district voting. It's the people who elect those they want to represent and lead their community. The voices of the people of Anson County have been resonating over the last year, and this board, led by individuals who are anti-democracy, consistently ignores our voices and attends to your own self-interest. This piece of legislation of at-large district voting is just another attempt to assassinate the voice of working moderate to low-income workers, regardless of their race and or ethnicity. It is an attempt to silence and remove the voices of the people so that the pockets of those already filled can be filled more, and the homes of those already suffering will suffer more. The extreme radical anti-democracy fractions of this board seek to impose their self-interest agendas on the more marginalized communities. If you, the leaders of this board, truly believe at-large district voting, which is not district representation, is in the best interest of this community, you are truly out of step with our democracy and the citizens of Anson. It additionally shows you possess an extreme anti-democracy view of democracy. One would have to retreat into their own heads to think that at-large district voting could be effective in electing individual district leaders. Rather, it is obvious that individuals on this board seek to be unaccountable to the citizens it professes to serve and have corrupt intentions that will inevitably have negative outcomes for years to come. Outcomes that you will be unable to defend. In essence, you seek to lock up Anson County government by individuals and organizations with private interests who seek narrow gains drawn from public goods and access, leading to a corrosive and downward spiral of public outcomes. The act of at-large district voting strategically puts the election of individual district representation into the hands of groups of people with money and live outside the district. elected officials only promote this agenda when they want to enforce an autocratic government, garner power, and influence over money. And right now, the influence and the power of the ballot is the $540 million on the North Carolina state budget targeted for the Anson County Casino. The quiet part out loud is individuals on this board want to harness that power of $540 million, and you believe you can protect that power by voting a resolution for at-large district voting to the state legislature, which is controlled by conservative Republicans who are themselves extreme and anti-democracy and have gerrymandered most North Carolina rural districts and suppress voters to keep themselves in power. Now you want to bring this destructive and corrosive form of government to Anson County. We say out loud, we see you and we hear you, and we know that it is your own self-interest, wealth, and power that you are working to protect, and not the citizens of Anson County. Since taking leadership, many of your actions have been to suppress voter engagement and divisive, but little on building a new high school, community safety, expanding health care, etc. Every move has been about you, and this move for district at-large voting is the worst of them all. You should vote no. Thank you for your time.
I'm gonna vote no.
Okay. Ms. Lyles, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. First, let me start off by saying that I do not have any personal issues, anguish, or ought toward any of you on this board. And a few of you I know personally, on a personal basis, and others of you I do not know at all. But again, if I say something that offends you, if the shoe fits, wear it. We, the people of Anson County, want to know, when is this board going to start actually representing the citizens of Anson County? Because of a lot of what I've seen, heard, witnessed, and watched hasn't been reflective of the people of Anson County, yet it has been reflective of yourselves and some of your own personal goals, desires, and benefits. Yet it is the people with good faith who voted and put you in that seat, and it shall be the people who also change that. I've witnessed hidden agendas revealed, discrimination, favoritism shown amongst county employees concerning their raises, no self-accountability, lack of communication, personal gain, division. Instead of explanations, you rather justify your own preordained decisions. Again, if the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, take it off. We do not expect for all of you to agree all the time, but we do expect for you to deny yourselves and actually represent the best interests of this county. To admit when you are wrong, apologize, and move forward. We the people are tired of our county being negatively represented locally, in the paper, media, and some of your decisions have indeed contributed to that fact. If you are open, transparent, and fully living in your truth, then you should be the same when you are in the seat, and you should be the same out in the street. If you and your decisions are true and transparent, then you shouldn't be one way in my face and another while in this space. There are a lot of self-agendas secretly being pushed within this board, and if you are only focusing on yourself and your self-driven benefits, then how are you truly being the voice of this county? No one would be worried about returning to their county commissioner seat via election time if you were truly representing the interests of the citizens of this county. Again, if the shoe fits, wear it. So some of you have made promises to certain citizens during the campaigning process, and once you got in your position, the concerns of the people of Anson County were of none importance. and we are tired of the fake impersonations of leadership and representation in this county. We the people charge you to be the commissioners and representatives in which you vowed to be, and respect us enough, if you're not going to do that, to remove yourself from your own county seat. If the shoes fit, wear it. If not, feel free to take it off. If it was expressed to me that certain commissioners privately expressed their dislikes for us advocating for the county employees' raises and also encouraging them to advocate for themselves, and that is not your position or your concern. But it is your job to treat people equally, fairly. It is your job to know what's in the budget. It is your job to be accountable for missing money. And it is your job to, I understand, thank you. It is your job
Ms.
to...
Lyles, that is 3 minutes, ma'am.
Yes, and I will
Thank
finish,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
So I encourage you to focus on your job, actually doing your jobs as county commissioners, and letting your decisions be based off all citizens of Anson County, not just your personal benefits. Again, if the shoe fits, wear it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lyles. Ms. Tillman, Iris Tillman. I would say Pastor LRB.
Good evening.
Evening. Good evening.
Good evening. I came in to express my thoughts and my concerns, of course, for the county at large seat vote. And I took away from the invocation that was so eloquently spoken by Pastor McNair, that of Michael. And those interpretations, he said that we should be fair, we should be kind, we should take action. And I know that everybody does not profess to be Christians. I don't expect everybody to do so, and it's not my job to force that on anybody. And unfortunately, in politics, we don't have people that are all of the same religion, and that's not why I'm here. But I am here, again, as I've always come, just about our democracy. You know, I can live with either choice that is made. Problem is, I don't think it is either of your choice to make. For you to feel that it's your choice to make, to tell this county how they can vote, is wrong on your end. Because if government is about the people, and if we're going to take action, why now? Why in such a hurry? Why we got to do it so fast without proper presentation to the people? Amen. If it had not been exposed at the time that it was, a decision could have been made tonight without the people even really knowing it. Here's the solution I think you should come up with. Why not just create a referendum? Simple. Instead of letting 7 people vote, if you think that the vote of the entire county matters for the Board of Commissioners, let the entire county vote and say how many people would rather have it that way and how many people wouldn't. Furthermore, the conflict that I find is that when you have conversation about the zoning and the way that it was presented to you all, that the company you was utilizing was going to take Davidson County's zoning, slap Anson County name on it, and give it to us, but that wasn't satisfying for you all. Because we needed some zoning that would be fair and cater to our county and how we operate. But then again, when it comes to countywide voting, you think that it is okay for us to be a resemblance of Stanley County, Union County, which I can tell you right now, our county is nowhere compatible to them based upon what we have going on in this county. And again, for, against, does not matter about one person, not even me. But if this is something we're going to do, why do we limit it to 7 people when we have a county full of people that can make this decision?
That's 3.
I have somebody else that's going to yield their time to me.
You got my time.
Thank you, I have a so I got time.
Whose name are you,
Yep.
sir?
Kelly Marshall.
Yes, sir.
Let me clarify one thing. As a group, you'll get 2 more minutes if you use somebody else's time, so you'll get 2 more.
Okay, well, thank you for those 2 more minutes.
Yes, sir.
Furthermore, I don't think that it is being fair for the commissioners to decide and to decide. My question is, why now? Why does it have to happen? I have my speculation. And you all know I have no problem sharing my speculation. My speculation is that there are people whose seats are coming up and their district is not pleased with how they have operated. And that is not something that should be left to the board, while the board has an advantage to the interests of the people whose seat is coming up in the next term. So to me it appears that you're using an opportunity while you still have power and still have a ratio 4 to 3 votes. It's a given. I can tell you right now who's going to vote for it and who's going to vote against it. Amen. I can tell you that. It's no surprise. We the people already know this. My thing is, why abuse your power while you have the advantage to say it's for the people when you can simply lay it out to the people and let the people decide? If this is about the people, if we're going to be fair, if we're going to be kind, and if we're going to take action, let us do it. Let us do it. You don't have to do it. In reference to a casino, right now Peachland doesn't even serve alcohol beverage. They don't even have alcohol in Peachland. It's not up to me whether or not a casino comes. I could care less. I don't gamble in casinos. But I do care about the people that I know that are still going to be dependent upon people to come and help and aid them once they throw their money away. That's not a decision for the board to decide. Let the people.
That's your time, sir.
Thank you. I got somebody else going to yield me some time.
But you can only do 1 yield.
All right. One other question before I go. Y'all had a policy that you told me you would put in place. Now, this is something you should be able to address because you've had time. I showed up in February, here we are in September, and I still haven't heard of a policy that you all told me you were presenting to me about fairness. Is there a policy in place for that? Now, that's something you can ask because you've had time. That's a yes or no question. Because, again, the last time I came to a meeting and it was packed to capacity, there were still citizens that were not allowed in. But there was a citizen that was allowed in that was not media, that was not a lawyer, was a regular citizen just like me.
With respect, sir, they're not allowed to answer
right,
questions.
But I would like for them to tell me that.
They're not allowed to.
You're their spokesman?
Pardon?
You're their spokesman?
Well, he's the attorney.
But I didn't come to talk to an attorney. I came to talk to the board.
But he advises us on what our procedures are.
But you advise, you're talking to me now. You're talking to me now, but you can't answer a question that you gave from, that's what, 7 months ago, that you told me you would work on a policy for. So if you could tell me what his role is, which I know his role is not to speak to me, because he's just a legal representation. I'm not asking for nothing legally. What I'm asking is, did you all put a policy in place that you promised me you would? Amen. And you've had 7 months to do it. Amen. You've had 7 months. And I'm sure that answer is no, because your mindset is on other things that you think matter, or rather than the people that should matter. Amen. We allowed media in a meeting, but citizens weren't allowed. So it's more important for the world to know what's going on in this room than people that live around here. When will the board make themselves available to the people outside of a commissioners meeting where they can have conversation and answer questions? That's the problem. We can come talk to you all, but y'all don't have time to talk to us. Amen. All right. And our lives don't line up and they don't match.
But we got to have a time frame on this. I'm
getting ready to sit down, but I'm just saying to you all, when are you going to make time for us? We've got to make time for you, because this is the only time we can come. 6 o'clock at a call meeting, emergency meeting, or whatever kind of meeting. When can you all have a meeting and it is for question and answers. If you're gonna represent the people, you should know the heart and the mind of the people and what concern the people. And this is not gonna cut it for us to have 3 minutes to talk to you, and you can't talk back. And we're tired of it. And we're tired of you all making decisions.
Okay, but I'm being pretty fair. I gotta obey the rules of this thing, so I appreciate you coming
Is there
up.
a policy?
Call,
Is there a policy?
call the manager, because we don't
Is there
answer.
the manager didn't promise me a policy, and
Okay.
the manager don't have the power to create a policy.
Then how about this?
There are 7 people up here that have the power to create a policy, and you
Okay, then
promised me you would have one, and all I want to know is a yes or no
Call
to
me.
that.
Call me then.
I'm talking to you now.
I know, but I don't have a platform to talk back to you. So you got my number.
You're
Me and you
talking
talk.
to me, it's a yes or no. We have a policy or we don't.
Okay.
And I take that answer as a no.
Mister, I sued this county for district representation with Attorney Ferguson in Charlotte. And the court ruled. The court ruled. And we'll stand ready to rule again.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm assuming that Mr. Marshall and Mr. Snuggs were the ones to yield their time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then we would, and Mr. Marshall, is that true? Okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we go to Brian Tucker, please.
Good evening.
Evening.
I reckon you see on television. Television is television. I mean, you know, you watch this and you see what's going on. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to each county commissioner, because me as a citizen and a business owner of Anson County, I feel like we are moving forward. I feel like we are seeing things getting done in Anson County. And we appreciate, you know, sometimes people are not good with change, but the change seems to be better for Anson County right now. With the few seats that's changed and the things that's went on, we're headed in the right direction. I reckon the big topic tonight is, and you've caught a lot of slack so far, is the vote that's coming up for countywide county commissioners. Well, you know, we the people elected the commissioners. Is that correct? Each one of y'all were elected by citizens of your district. That makes sense, correct? I mean, everybody voted. Nobody couldn't vote for anybody. Now, the way I feel is, I should be able to vote for Mr. Smith. I should be able to vote for Mr. Carter. I should be able to vote for Mr. Bricken, because they're making a decision that's affecting me. Okay? Even though I'm from Liesville District, then Mr. Bricken, his decisions are still affecting me as a business person in Anson County, as a resident of Anson County, as a landowner of Anson County. So I have a vote. I have a vote. No, wait, Mr. Smith. This is not
like that.
You're not even
It's not
supposed to
set
speak,
up
correct?
like that.
Mr. Ford, is he supposed to speak? He's not supposed to speak.
That's why we have black folks
I
on
didn't
this.
call you out. I didn't call you out. I'm
But
not
I
going to call
call you out.
Wait, I'm sitting there. You can call me out all you want to, but you will be called out in the election.
I'm not worried about
Hey,
that.
wait a minute. Now, since he made this personal, you've been sitting on this board for how many years?
Longer than anyone.
Poverty rate in Anson County is what? Just curious, do you know? We've lost jobs. Can't even keep a Walmart. Do you know?
When this fault.
Why didn't everybody do it?
It's county commissioners. It's not the newly elected county commissioner's fault.
You had predecessors. You had predecessors.
Correct? It's not. It's not.
2 minutes, sir.
You had predecessors.
Yeah, everybody can disagree to agree, but I
Mr.
still
Tucker,
have
if
a
you would
problem.
express your comments to the board, please
Okay,
not engage
so
y'all.
I still have,
Thank you.
okay, here's the problem. Mr. Smith, here's what it is. We talk about racism. That's took over our country. It's pitiful to say, because the pastor done a great job opening up. She done an excellent job. And that's where our mind should be. But we talk about racist. I'm looking at the board. I'm not racist. Does the board look racist? No, the board don't look racist. I know these individuals, each one, a lot of them. They're not racist. They're up to our standard. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I trust Mr. Woodland, I trust Mr. Mims, Mr. Carter, Mr. Bricken, Miss Little. I trust Ms. Smith, and I trust Mr. Gatewood to make decisions that affect me and my family every day, because they're elected officials. So I want to say again, thank you for the job you're doing. There are people out there that appreciate you.
3 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Now, Let Mr. Lynn Klopfelder, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board.
Evening.
I think I know personally or are familiar with everybody on this board. And, you know, I bring a little bit of different perspective. I don't live in the county now, but I maintain a home and a farm here, and I'm here from 2 to 7 days a week. This county means a lot to me. The county's been good to me. But this resolution, I'd contend, has been a long time coming. It's just real simple. I don't quite understand the opposition for this reason. The candidates from each district are residents of those districts. And you must live in those districts. And if anyone in this room wants a particular person to run for county commissioner, they're eligible to support, to file, to participate in any way they want. But the fact is, when I did live here for 20 years, I had only say-so influence with the one commissioner for the district in which I lived. Now, I could reach out to the other commissioners, but I had no ability to campaign for them, campaign against them, have any influence at all in what their decision may be, or for them to actually have to listen to my position if they didn't want to. It's just that simple. And each one of these commissioners here is tasked with the job of serving everybody in this county equally. Again, no one from Peachland is going to be able to run to Lowesville and file and run for commissioner. That commissioner will be elected from the citizens of Lowesville. No one from Morven is going to run to Ansonville, or from Waitsboro to Morven. You've got to be a resident there to file. But each person in this county has some say-so about who this board is. And that's the way it is with all the surrounding successful counties around here. No, we're not the same as Stanley County. We're not the same as Union County. Stanley's not the same as Union County. Stanley's not the same as Montgomery County. But in each one of those counties, all of the citizens have input on all of the commissioners. That's the American way. That's what it means when your vote counts. Here, your vote, when you live here and you vote in your district, your vote only counts for one part of Anson County. And a commissioner in another part of Anson County can make a decision that you don't agree with, is in opposition with what you believe is the best thing for the county, and you have no say-so whatsoever. And the fact of it is, if the citizens, the commissioner for each district is doing the job that those citizens want or don't want, as the case may be, that commissioner is going to be elected or unelected, as the case may be. But again, they have to live there. So the concern, I'm not quite even sure what the concern is, because the commissioner will be one of their citizens in their district. I'd ask the board to approve this resolution. As I say, it's a long time coming, and it gives every person in this county an equal vote.
3 minutes, Mr. Baldwin. Thank you.
We should have been here when the black folks couldn't represent the people in this county.
Mr. Smith, I believe we passed that now.
No,
we're not.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
That's why you're here.
Well, I'm looking at 4 on the board right now.
That's cause we
5, I'm
sued.
sorry, 5 on the board right now.
That's cause we sued.
All right, Mr. Streeter, Rolf Streeter. Yes, sir. Oh, okay, Mr. McLeod, Pastor McLeod. Yes, sir.
Again, I come to you and I change my focus because I told y'all I've been here 44 years and I'm Anson County. I'm here now. I'm one of us. And one of my problems is that we're making a decision that I had to hear through the grapevine. I had to hear through the grapevine. And I want to be brought to the table too. It's not going to really affect me. I've been here and I have my retirement and all of this. But I'm a minister. I'm a pastor. God has charged me with the doing for the least of me. I heard Mr. Cloudfelder saying that you have to look at it, and it kind of makes some sense, but it doesn't make any sense. Now, he said you got to live in the place, and everyone gonna vote even if they don't live in that place. Well, we kind of know how that could work. Even if you live in that place, if you get enough people from the outside to go against someone that the people want, you can bump them anyway. First question I asked on my notes as I came here, I said, why the change? But the climate in this country has changed. The climate in this nation has changed. You know, we kind of think we're equal now. We think we are actually to that point when they carved out that Constitution that all men are created equal. We kind of think that. See, our court of Supreme Court did. Remember, they said you don't need no affirmative action. We're gonna treat everyone like they need to be. That's a joke, and you know it's a joke. You might not admit it's a joke. Well, if you didn't think it was a joke, why are some of the decisions we make? And we'll say it's in the name of Christianity, that I start a school and pull away, or I go back to a certain place. But again, we have to look at that. My concern is simply this. We have struggled for years to come to the table. And I heard you point out that we got 5 blacks up there now, but it's calculated. Decisions calculated. I've been wondering why the change, and I've heard that we need to get qualified people there. We're tired of putting people there that's not qualified. I want to let you all know that you can always find someone more qualified than any of you up there. If we're going on paper, job I had at Wadesboro Elementary, that was way more people qualified than me, but my heart was in it. When God sent Samuel to Jesse, he told Jesse that you're gonna go down and you're gonna find the king. And yeah, he ain't gonna look like a king, but I look at the heart. And so I look at the heart. So I'm concerned with that. I'm concerned that all of the struggles that it took us to get to the table, and I told Lawrence that because he's my commissioner, I'm concerned that all of the in the 64 trying to pass legislation to get a seat at the table. We have a seat at the table, and now we're going to go back. Remember, they gave me 2 more minutes and I'm going to sit down. Hey, we finally have a seat at the table. So what are we going to do? We're going to go back? We can't go back. We can't go back. Why would we go back? Why would we lose the opportunities? And then I look, and it's on you all, because you all gonna make the decision, and you think about these struggles or whatnot. Got 2 more minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
It's already been 3.
Okay, so I have 2 because someone yelled that
I did not hear that. I apologize. Could you tell me their name for the record? It will not count against your time. It will not count.
Fine. Ross Street. Hey.
Okay.
Sir, I've said probably enough to touch some hearts anyway. That's all I do, because I'm going to live here. But you're going to live here too. Amen. And don't be on the wrong side of the decision. Again, this is what I heard. We won't qualify. We don't want to vote according to race, and that's fine. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get that hard. And I vote qualified. But I'm trying to find some trust. I need some trust. I need to know that you have my kids' best interest. I would need to know you have Murder Street, Murderwood, and those places. I need to know that you know those. And then I could yield that and say, yes, we have arrived. We need no more affirmative action. We never need anything else. We have arrived. And what Anson County has said, we have arrived. So I guess we have. I'm going to leave you with this. Because the makeup of the board has been, I guess, predominantly Afro-American, and some people were feeling like, on both sides, because I've heard Afro-Americans say, they've been feeling that the quality hadn't been there. Y'all need to look in the mirror. They might be telling you all, which one of y'all are not qualified? Which one of y'all shouldn't be there? You need to think about that. I want to say what a mentor of mine said. He said, the test is better to treat, the best is It is better to trust in the Lord than to put your confidence in man. And John Thompson said, because we've been on this board, he said, freedom is not worth having if it doesn't include the freedom to make some mistakes. We can't make no mistake. Yeah, the board has been maybe this way and we haven't gone where we wanted to go, but got a history of that. Come on now, we don't have to change it now. But again, it's on you. It's your decision, and I thank you.
All right, thank you, Pastor McLeod. All right, at this time, we have appearances, our section from Miss Christina Dennis from Central Iowa Regional Council, please.
Good evening, Commissioners,
Thank you.
Chairman Bricken, and County Manager Sussman. Hello, Anson County, and I appreciate your passion and the care that you have for your communities, all of you. I'm going to introduce myself and introduce the staff that I'm with tonight, and then I'm going to tell you a story about disaster recovery and preparedness that all of you are going to be a part of. So I'm Christina Dennis. I am the Director of Community Economic Development for the Central Iowa Regional Council. The Central Iowa Regional Council includes 9 counties. Anson County is one of those counties. There are 16 councils of government in the state of North Carolina. They cover all 100 counties. So there are 16 councils of government. Central Iowa is one of those councils of government, and Anson County is within the Central Iowa Regional Council region. And I'm here tonight with my partner, Kate Versinger from Central Iowa. She's a Community Economic Development Specialist. And Katie Canada, she is from Innovative Emergency Management. She is working in contract and supporting Anson County in the work that they're doing with Central Iowa to help Anson County become more resilient against man-made and natural disasters. And so my purpose here tonight is to describe how the work that I'm about to present to you assist Anson County residents, businesses, and their public assets to be protected from future natural and man-made disasters. It's also timely, as this is National Preparedness Month. This is where we talk about being prepared for the next disaster event, whether it be man-made or natural. And we're also in hurricane season. So I'm really pleased to present this with you tonight. I will take you through this presentation. I'll tell you a little bit about the work that's going on and the next steps. So Central Iowa and Anson County have been working together on a partnership for disaster recovery. It started in about 2021. Hurricane Michael and Hurricane Florence happened around that time. And the U.S. Economic Development Administration provided funding to assist counties that were damaged by those disaster events. Central Iowa assisted with that, and we formed the Regional Resilience Collaborative. That work funded a local leader disaster guide, a tool, a mapping tool that helps us be more prepared to disasters, knowing where flood-prone areas are and where buildings and where bridges are. We also did a pre-disaster recovery planning guide and template, and we developed that as part of that work. We were able to secure more money to continue this type of work because this work doesn't end. Disasters won't end. We need to keep it going. So we were able to secure more money to keep it going in July of 2022 through June of 2024 through the North Carolina Association of Regional Council of Governments. Those 16 councils of government across the state received money from the state to help counties and towns be better prepared for disasters. As part of that work, we did a roadmap. We also supported Anson County in a long-term recovery disaster plan. That's also called a pre-disaster plan. If you see that in my presentation tonight, it's long-term or pre-disaster, that means the same thing. We also looked at a federal emergency management agency, BRIC, Building Resilient Infrastructures and Communities grant together, and we were able to secure that grant for Anson County, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So what are we doing as well to help ensure that when disaster strikes, the public assets in Anson County are able to recoup the funds from FEMA? Because it's a reimbursement program, FEMA. And I'm talking only about public assets, not individual businesses or homes. we're doing a financial training administration that will be launched and work through June of 2024, where all of the councils of governments are getting trained by a subject matter expert to go out into the field and work with their counties and local government units to train them when disaster strikes, to have the paperwork in place and the information in place so that they can recoup those dollars from FEMA more effectively and efficiency and be more resilient when those disasters strike, so that we're ready. Because it's the time to get ready is not when the disaster strikes. The time to get ready is now, and be ready. So I talked a little bit about that BRIC grant, that Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities grant. Central Ina, working with Rodney Diggs and the county manager and the Board of County Commissioners, was able to secure $60,000 from FEMA through the State of North Carolina Emergency Management to help scope and identify flood risk in Anson County. It's the #1 hazard mitigation in Anson County. It's pretty much the #1 in the other counties we serve as well. Why is this important? 100% of your wastewater facilities in Anson County are in a floodplain. 67% of your bridges are impacted by floodplains. 9% of your dams and 8% of your medical buildings. Your social vulnerability index of 0.94 means that most of your public assets, almost 100% of them, are at risk from some flood or disaster event. So how are we going to help? We're going to be working with this grant to procure a consultant. It'll be a public bid that will go out to prioritize flood risk mitigation and shovel-ready projects. This is called a scoping project, which it means it doesn't pick a project, it identifies where the highest needs are for projects, and then it designs them, and then it asks for more money from FEMA. Once you get this grant, you actually enter the pipeline, because now you've done the work to ensure that those taxpayer dollars that come from FEMA are applied to projects that are shovel-ready and have been vetted. So we'll be moving forward with that. So this project is a scope to identify flood risk. The Board of County Commissioners, back in late fall of 2022, these FEMA grants come with a match. Okay, so they're going to give you $60,000, and the board has decided through in-kind and some funding to match it with $15,000, which is a criteria. These funds will bolster benefits by reducing the risk of flood, and we are working with FEMA and the town to put this in. So Central Ina, along with Katie and IEM and Rodney and the county manager's office, are ensuring that this project moves forward. It will launch in January of 2024. So remember I talked about that pre-disaster planning, long-term disaster planning. So economic resilience in a community happens before a disaster and after a disaster. When disaster strikes and Rodney and the emergency services team are going out to do that response work, that's human resilience. That's where human resilience comes in. Economic resilience and local government and all of you are before the disaster and after the disaster. That's how we ensure that the work that they do as part of their human resilience saves as many lives and property and safety and assets as possible. So what does that look like? Recovery is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get ready and to advance equity as part of that readiness. Certain populations are more vulnerable to storms when they strike, or more vulnerable to man-made disasters when they strike. And making sure that equity informs this is important. We're going to prioritize community engagement and partnership. Before this meeting, we had more than 30 individuals from across the county in a room working together to form the committees that I'm about to talk to you about in building working groups, so that we can do this pre-disaster plan and be ready for disasters before they strike. Have it ready. You don't want to come to work one day after a disaster and someone says, by the way, you're now in charge of gas rationing for the fleet. I've never done that before. I don't even know how to do that. You want to know about that every day. Disaster recovery is part of every day, not the day disaster strikes. So we're going to work through these working groups. A position, and it's called here the local disaster recovery manager, but a position that I'll talk to you a little bit more about and how meaningful it is to your community is the emergency management planner and recovery planner. And right now you don't have that position in place in Anson County, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That person helps guide the recovery process. Recovery processes last from anywhere from several weeks and months to many years. It doesn't go away. It's a long time. In fact, we're just trying to wrap up Hurricane Florence. We're still trying to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that structure, that day-to-day work. Everyone knows about it, because you never know when something will strike. So this is something that's a little hard to see, but we've got the Board of County Commissioners, the county manager, goes into the emergency manager, which you have that position now with Rodney Diggs. You have a legal representation. There's a requirement for a public information officer and a financial officer. These people all work together, and that emergency management disaster recovery planner is a key person. They hold the plan. It's a dynamic process. They make sure the groups are informed. We also have a recovery coordination committee. That's a committee that doesn't have to be part of the county. It can be from outside. Groups that continue the process going and make sure that residents know throughout their community. It can be nonprofits and others. Then you work with the state and the federal government. In Anson County, we're missing 2 key pieces, and I'm lifting them up. The commissioners know this, and I'm lifting this up to you all tonight, that we found. The emergency management disaster recovery planner and the public information officer are 2 positions that are critical to getting out information and this plan in its term and moving forward. And so I want to lift them up so that you have an understanding of what it takes to actually be resilient and make sure that you have that ability to respond to a disaster and recover. So the next steps, we're going to continue this process through June of 2024. We are going to form the committees. We are going to continue to meet from October through April. And then we're going to try to identify a local disaster recovery manager, an emergency manager, a recovery planner position for Anson County and get support for that. And then continue that FEMA Building Resistant Infrastructure and Community Grant to look at those flood-prone areas and get that identified. So all of this in working together will make Anson County more resilient to the next storm or man-made disaster and make all of you more aware as citizens and commissioners that serve your communities about what's needed. As I said, I'm Christina Danis. I'm from Central Lina. I am not a subject matter expert in disasters. I am a community economic developer, and Rodney and I have been working with our team to make sure that you're as safe as you can be, and I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
If you all don't mind, we'll sit down, okay? Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your time today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. On section 5, we have no appointments, and now we're getting ready to go over the administrative matters. I think that's why most of you are here to listen and to give us feedback. I just want to set the tone for what we're getting ready to do. As we stated in the introduction, our goal is to establish a more inclusive, county-wide voting procedure where every citizen has the opportunity to vote for each commissioner. In order to protect the integrity of local representation within these individual districts, we would continue to require these eligible candidates to reside in each one of the 7 current districts as we do now. This would encourage each board member to be more involved in county-wide issues, irregardless of where they would occur. So we'll have time after, if a motion is made and second, then we'll have discussion like we normally do. That's our procedure. So at this time, could Attorney Forbes please read the proposed resolution so we can hear what it is?
I apologize for the delay. Resolution supporting the North Carolina General Assembly's efforts to expand countywide district voting. Whereas the Anson County Board of Commissioners currently has 7 members from 7 districts divided throughout the county. And whereas for the purpose of nominating and electing members of the Board of Commissioners, Anson County is divided into the aforesaid 7 districts. And the individual commissioners are currently elected only by the registered voters residing in their individual district, but govern the entire county. And whereas the members of the Anson County Board of Commissioners represent the interests of the entire county, regardless of their district, and the citizens of the entire county have the right to determine their leadership regarding the Anson County Board of Commissioners, regardless of in which district the citizen resides. And whereas it is in the best interest of Anson County that each citizen be eligible to vote for the members of the Board of Commissioners regardless of the district in which they reside, and now therefore it be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Anson County that the board supports the actions of the North Carolina General Assembly to alter the voting procedures in Anson County so that all qualified voters of Anson County shall nominate candidates and elect one member who resides in each of the 7 districts, or as stated in North Carolina General Statutes 153A-58, subsection 3, subsection D, which reads, members shall reside in and represent the districts according to the apportionment plan adopted, but the qualified voters of the entire county shall nominate all candidates for and elect all members of the board. Adopted, if it is adopted. That's the resolution presented.
Thank you, Attorney Forbes.
Thank you.
With that explanation, at this time, and again, the commissioners will be able to discuss this if a motion is made and second. So at this time, is there a motion to accept the proposed resolution to expand countywide district voting?
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion to adopt the resolution supporting the expansion of countywide district voting as we've heard here tonight.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cottle, second by Commissioner Mims. At this time, is there any discussion?
I resent it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would just like to point out, first of all, after reviewing North Carolina General Statute 153A-58, which all this falls under, and Section 58 states that everything is optional. And the other thing that I would just like to point out, and based on hearing from the citizens, I had a couple other comments, but I'm just going to get down to the bottom of what of the notes that I had that I was going to mention tonight. Is that I think that we add a referendum to a ballot to see if the citizen wants to go this way, and I would actually make that as a motion. I hold my other comments.
I second that motion.
But first, we got to finish up.
We got a motion.
Cannot accept or entertain motions at this time. You are able to later, but at this time.
I just realized that, so I will withdraw what I said as far as the motion is concerned, but that is my intention, so you can proceed now with the motion that's on the table.
Is there any more discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why does this resolution only address the county commissioner seats and not the seats of the school board? They also have district representation too. Why is it just this board and not their board too?
Well, we would assume that the school board would make up their own mind about their own board. We wouldn't want to interfere with their decisions.
I would just add along that line, since you brought up the school board, one of the options that we could do is add a couple of seats and make those at-large voting seats. Or we could have the county manager and staff and have some commissioners involved look at the current makeup of the board and determine what seats could be at large. My recommendation would be that we mirror the school board and just add 2 seats for at-large voting. Then this issue is addressed, in my opinion.
I'm not for that.
To add 2 seats and make them at-large voting?
I'm not for that.
Just trying to figure out a way to work through this.
The court made this 7-man seat.
Understand?
Yeah, because you didn't have blacks represented in this county.
I'll argue that by going countywide voting, we are giving all black citizens and all white citizens the opportunity to vote. And I'll address a couple concerns that were made earlier. One was putting on a referendum and letting the citizens decide. I take that to heart, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're allowing every citizen to vote on these 7 commissioners right here, not just one district. Every citizen's going to be able to vote. One option, one complaint was about gerrymandering the voting districts. This option right here takes away all gerrymandering of the districts. There is no district anymore. You have every voter can decide who the commissioners are.
Let the court settle it.
That's what they're going to do. The voters are going to decide who the commissioners are.
No. That means put it on the ballot and let them.
The voters will decide.
No, you're trying to let us decide. We need to let the voters decide what they want to do. It shouldn't be left up to seven. We done did this once before.
Let the citizens decide.
Yeah, let the citizens decide.
The voters will decide.
No, that's not the voters.
Because the citizens elected 7 commissioners
That's right.
that have enough brains to do this.
Well, the commissioners are the ones that want to change it. And so now we need to vote again. If there's a vote, and it needs to be made by the citizens and not by the commissioners.
There's a reason why it's been done in a hurry.
We didn't vote for that. We had a lawyer that took care of the district voting.
Then why shouldn't they decide?
Because some seats coming up in 2024, if they get this through legislation, then next election they'll be able to have countywide.
The citizens will decide.
Get it through before the year out in 2024.
Mr. Chairman.
They can protect their seats.
Mr. Chairman, are there any other discussions amongst board members?
Blacks was not elected
Right.
to this board.
But you are elected.
Mr. Calder.
But right now, we have a motion, we have
It's not about you, let the citizens decide.
we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, hold your hands up so we can see them real well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Mims, Commissioner Cottle, Commissioner Bricken, Commissioner Gatewood, all vote in favor. The motion passes.
We told you that.
All those opposed, let's do this too then. All those opposed, raise your hand. Let's see, all those opposed, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Woodburn, Ms. Little Reed, and Mr. Smith vote against, so the motion passes.
Who presented their proposal? We wasn't told that. They did it like I was talking. No, they didn't tell them who presented their proposal. Who brought it up? You said it, right?
I did. I made a motion to approve it. Yes, sir, I did.
No, not the motion. If that is a proposal, who presented?
Who put it on the agenda? Who got it
Who had
together?
the proposal put in place?
Yeah. Who got together and decided to do it?
Who put this proposal together?
Who put it together?
We've been in discussion with the General Assembly to get it done.
But somebody got to put it forward.
Yeah, but you didn't contact us.
Didn't come up with it on their
Then the General Assembly.
And that was another reason
General
for.
Assembly is in Raleigh.
That's right. That was another reason for my comments on the statute. The General Assembly doesn't initiate this. It has to come from the local board. You take it to them, then they.
Get together and put this together and decide.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commissioner Woodburn, Commissioner Little Reed, they're trying to speak, some other commissioners are. If you would not mind allowing the commissioners to conduct their business, please.
When can they have a
Mr. Woodburn?
conversation with us? That's what we want to know.
Wasn't he at the meeting?
All
I
right,
don't know nothing about this thing they done put together here tonight.
Who did though?
we put it on the agenda.
I don't know nothing about it.
Who worked on it?
They didn't support. You see him right there? The same thing that took your money from you. That you took your money from you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was asked to draft this proposal based on the statutes.
I said I didn't have to know nothing about it. I've been here.
I'm okay, y'all. Okay, listen up, y'all. Yeah.
Why is that not information to the people?
Let's move on.
Who did it?
Let's
move on.
We can be so loud for hours, we're fine. Leave it alone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Leave it alone.
In order for it to be.
Voted to give more money to the sheriff department and I ain't got a job with him. Knew he was going over there the whole time. Give him more money and took a job. We do that. What about the people working social service and everywhere else in the county?
Okay, I have a question. Who did get together and decide to put this up? You keep saying we. Who is we?
And
I'd like to know who we are.
We had to put something out there in order for people to vote on it. So what are we supposed to do?
Who were the people that did it?
I spoke with I spoke with Senator Craven.
Okay, no, I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about on this board. Who got together and decided they wanted to put this resolution? Because it wasn't me. It wasn't Smith, so who was it?
But anytime we have an idea, we put it out there and then we all vote on
But
it.
it's always the same 4 people.
All right.
Get together and discuss it, but we never know about it until it gets on the agenda, and then we got to discuss it then. Why not involve all of us whenever you're doing it, instead of then the same 4 doing it all the time?
Motion that this meeting be adjourned.
And that's illegal. That's illegal anyway.
They have a meeting outside.
That's right. The whole board is supposed to be involved.
The whole board, that's why we did this. We involved the whole board.
You involved the whole board today. We all got together to do this.
Just move on.
It is illegal.
Okay.
The whole board is not there.
All right.
To talk about it.
You said the same thing when we elected the sheriff.
Ma'am, it said the same thing. It said the same thing about you found by the Democrat Party to be a liar. Okay? I apologize. No,
we ain't nothing but liars. We're wrong too.
And you
We need a
corrupt.
fellow government in here.
And you corrupt.
I apologize. I apologize to the board. I'm very, very sorry. I apologize.
Okay, right now we're at the point of the schedule where
That's illegal if the whole board is not
I
involved
apologize.
in the decision. That's illegal.
Don't even address it. We
You
didn't.
cannot, three or 4 of you all cannot go out and talk about things.
That's what happened.
You cannot do that. That's illegal.
That's illegal.
John Montgomery, what do you know
Stop calling
about
my
it?
name. I ain't talking to you.
What do you know about it?
Then look, I'm not talking to you.
Well, you should.
Shut up! I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the board up here.
Sir, you can have them removed, sir.
Why don't you be removed?
That's right. You need to be removed
But the whole
from the
county.
county. For the thing you
All
done
right.
in this county.
what I'm gonna say, right now, we have scheduled a closed session. It has nothing to do with this. At this time, do we have a motion to go into closed session? Motion made by Commissioner Mims. Second.
No, I ain't
Commissioner-
going in no closed session.
Motion made by Commissioner Sims. Second by Commissioner Gatewood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All those opposed to go in closed session? Commissioner Smith. Motion carries to go into closed session.
Is it a closed session subject?
It is a closed session. The attorney had asked to go into closed session, nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight.
Oh, it has nothing to do with this motion here.
I'm good. I mean, I just want to make sure.
We talked about last time.
I ain't got no problem. I understand that.
Our agenda comes out long before the meeting. Okay, right now we voted to go into closed session, so that's what we're doing.
Board said they didn't know nothing about it. It got to be a lawsuit. Board members gonna be proof that they didn't know nothing about it.
That's right.
Yeah,
We voted.
when we go into closed session,
We will. How you doing?
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Ma'am, it's a closed session.
The motion again, I'm sorry, please.
oh yes ma'am, so we have a motion to come out of closed session.
Motion to come out of closed session.
Motion made by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Little Reed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're out of closed session. We're now in open session. Does anyone want to make the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Mr. Woodburn, motion to adjourn, second by Commissioner Little Reed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let's